Hi everyone. So I got a comment on one of my videos that asked about how do I go about the process of setting an intention? And I think that's a great question. So I thought I'd make a video about it. And let me start by saying, listen, I am not the authority on all of this stuff. I want to continue to point you back to yourself. Somebody said that to me, that, pointing back to yourself is really the answer, right? I'm not here to be a guru by any means. I'll give you what I feel like Spirit has revealed to me and what I have found useful and what I have learned from watching and learning about this stuff from a lot of different people. I want to encourage you also, because let me start by saying I also seek information from others, and I seek information from people who have learned before me and all that. And then I combine that with just asking Spirit. And I think the two are really great because you can take what other people have learned from Spirit and combine that with your own knowledge of what Spirit reveals to you. And it makes it really personal and it makes it really customized, right? Which I think is awesome. So I will tell you the way that I have gone about doing this. And if it works for you, great. If it helps you at least get a little tool to put in your toolbox when you're working on this stuff, great too, right? Okay, so setting an intention. Gosh, I forget what book it was I read. Doesn't matter. But a lot of times we attach, so let me start by saying happiness, this feeling of happiness is not contingent upon any external circumstance. When we feel happiness, when we feel fulfilled, when we feel peace and joy, what we are really experiencing is our true spirit without condition externally. What happens when you experience happiness and you attribute it to something that makes you happy is that for a second your mind goes quiet and you're able to experience that spirit that you are. And we say, oh, what was going on when I experienced that happiness? I was eating my favorite ice cream. Oh, okay. I must really like that ice cream. Or, I think we've all experienced that feeling. This is kind of a universal feeling, at least I think, when you're watching fireworks and just that feeling of awe, like, wow. And we attribute that to like, wow, we all love fireworks. We do, certainly. But I think really it's that spirit, our mind goes quiet, and that spirit that we are that's always there is there. And we tune into it a little bit. That's not to say you shouldn't enjoy things in the physical, right? Again, if you want to go be a monk in the mountains of Tibet, do you, boo? And I think that's fantastic. There's a lot of people that get tremendous joy out of that. Great. But I think also it's totally fine to enjoy things in the physical, right? Totally fine. That's why we're here, to learn and to love and be loved, right? But what I'm telling you is, the reason I'm saying this is so you don't feel so attached to the physical outcome to make you happy. You know that it's actually not what's making you happy. You can enjoy it freely, knowing that, hey, my natural spirit is here no matter what, right? So that's a precursor to this subject of intention. So again, we can let go to the point where we give no direction toward what we want our 3D to look like, and that's okay. But it's also great to set an intention. When you hear about near-death experiences, they talk about, literally they had a thought come into mind like, hey, I want to move over there, and they were there. Or I want to focus on this droplet of water, and it blew up, and they were like, not only seeing the drop of water up close, but the drop of water was them and they were experiencing it. That is what setting an intention is. Literally putting your focus onto something in the spirit, in the spirit, in the spirit. Okay? The reason I'm repeating myself is because I think what we do is we put focus on that intention in the 3D. And that's when things get weird. So back to this analogy of the comet, right? The comet is the internal situation. So, for example, let's say you're wanting to manifest a financial situation that is favorable. Most people don't just want to lay around the house doing nothing. I would suggest to you, if that's where you're at, you are in a little bit of apathy, and that's okay. Don't resist it. Don't be hard on yourself about it. But most of us, when we get inspired to do something. And once we're inspired and we're really living in that abundant mindset, opportunities come to us, and life gives us a chance to participate in some of these things, right? With also great freedom of time. You'll find yourself with bandwidth that you didn't know you had, right? So if you're just exhausted, and I understand that situation, I've been there myself, right? Where you're just like, oh, I don't want to work ever again. And that's totally fine, right? Like, I'm not suggesting that having a job is the answer. What I'm saying is, Spirit will bring opportunities to you to make money. It can also bring magical amounts of money to you, right? Both. So forget about the details. Forget about winning the lottery. Forget about not working. Forget about whatever it is. What is the end result feeling that you want to feel? I allow myself. I like those statements. I allow myself. I allow myself to make money in a way that's deeply fulfilling to me and allows me freedom of time, freedom of choice. I allow myself to live in a home that's peaceful, spacious, where I can entertain my family. I allow myself to be in a romantic relationship that's deeply fulfilling to me. And if there's a specific in mind about it, that's okay. So what you do is you set that intention. Your ultimate goal, everybody's ultimate goal is to feel not separated. So when you feel connected to love, I feel peace in my home. I allow myself to live in a home where I feel peace, I feel safe, I feel accepted and loved. And then go into your mind's eye and visualize that scenario. And just generate that feeling of relief that brings. And that feeling of relief is your sense of connectedness to Spirit. The feeling of relief is that remembrance that you are one and there is no separation. So go in. I allow myself to make money in a way that is deeply fulfilling and allows me freedom of time and allows me to express my passions and be my truest self. And then go within. We are all super confident about something. Generate that feeling of relief and just pure confidence about, I am so fulfilled in how I make money. I am so fulfilled. I am so safe there. Just generate that feeling. I am so fulfilled in my romantic relationship. I am so fulfilled with how I feel in my body. And that's that's the real place. I was talking with a friend. The magic is what's real. So keep that in mind. Okay, so what you do is you go within and you create the environment and you feel that feeling of fulfillment, that relief, that comfort, that confidence. And then when you look at the 3D, you send that love and acceptance. Again, I'm going to keep hammering that. I love and accept the 3D for how it is. Because that's not what's real. Don't dissociate from it. Accept it. If you're triggered by the 3D and you're freaking out about the 3D, quit trying to change that. Just send your body, mind, love, and acceptance for how it's responding to that in the moment. And then go back within. Now, here's the thing. If walking out of your house into the world for the day, you can acknowledge how you're feeling from a body-mind standpoint. If you're feeling triggered by your job, if you're feeling triggered by whatever it is, accept and love that. When you're resisting it, that's when it really holds in place. And I'm not suggesting it's going to go away like that instant. It might take a little bit to release, right? Just accept and love that feeling. Quit trying to change it. But then go back within and embody that feeling of fulfillment. Because what happens is if you're continuing to push on the 3D, either from a standpoint of trying to change it or trying to pretend it's not there, you are embodying the lack. You are running around reverberating the feeling of, I am not fulfilled. So how are you relating to your manifestation internally? Are you relating to the environment that you're in from a standpoint of, I feel so unfulfilled? Now, if that's the case, again, acknowledge that emotion. That's a feeling of separation. Accept that. Send it love. But then go back internally and embody that. Internally, I feel so fulfilled. That is the only reality. That is where the magic happens. That is what's real. I feel so fulfilled and safe in my home. I feel so safe in my romantic relationship. So a couple years ago, I was able to buy a house in Denver. And at the time, the market was nuts and all the things, all the facts, right? That's great. Okay, I acknowledge that. And I worked with a realtor and I participated with the things in the external, just like I told you yesterday. I was living in the 3D and not pushing on it. I was taking practical action and all the things. But internally, my vision, what I created, was I kept going back to a moment where I have some amazing friends that I'm so very, very grateful for. And I pictured myself, it was summertime, I pictured myself on a rooftop with them having a glass of champagne. And I pictured myself walking in and they were so excited. And we were cheersing to, oh my gosh, we did it. And that's all. That's all I did. And there was things that happened in the 3D. Like the first house I put an offer in on fell through and that stunk. And the owners of that house were trying to jack up the price by countering and creating this bidding war. And I was like, nah, I'm out of that. And, all of a sudden it just magically happened. And again, there were moments along the way where I was like, I don't know about this, right? Like there's some weird things going on. But I kept acknowledging the 3D. Okay. And I kept going back internally and being like, seeing my friends, cheersing them, picturing my family being in my home. I love to host my family for the holidays. And just picturing myself feeling so comfortable and fulfilled. That was the reality. That was the magic. And amazing things happened, right? I got the house I asked for less than asking in a market that was not happening in. The owners that sold this house to me were phenomenal. They did all the repairs plus some. They left a $5,000 check on the counter when I went into the house. They're like, oh, we also wanted to replace the hot water heater, but we ran out of time, so here's $5,000. I'm like, what? Okay, thank you. And all these little magical things happened because I just acknowledged the 3D, I accepted it, I participated in it as a human being would participate in it, right? But I didn't push on it. Maybe sometimes. And it's okay if you push sometimes. It doesn't mean you don't get your manifestation if you push sometimes. But I kept going back internally. I just set the intention of this is how I want to feel. I want to feel comfortable in my home. I want to feel fulfilled in my relationships. That's my intention. And visualize the specifics of it, right? Quit about the steps though, right? The steps are whatever. Acknowledge and accept the 3D. So try that. Let me know. And I'm going to put out another video about Q&A I'm going to do to offer kind of having people send me an email to ask questions of spirit, and I can ask my spirit guides, and do some Q&A, which might be kind of fun. But this video is long enough. So I hope that helps. Love you guys. Have a great day.